Welcome, everyone, to a very special episode of the HR and Payroll 2.0 podcast. I'm Pete Tiliakis, and I'm thrilled to be joined by Zoho's Chief Evangelist, Raju Vegesna. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, it's great to have you, man. It's a privilege to be here at Zoho Day. And what a week, man. You guys, again, hit it out of the park. Lots of new product. And I really appreciate the transparency that you guys give us analysts. And thank you for joining us here, man.
Well, thank you.
Look, I was just thinking about it earlier. I was joking with Holger Mueller. We did a podcast earlier. I said, it's 30 years, right? Zoho's 30 years old this year. They're a millennial. 1996, Zoho's a millennial. Yeah. But what are your thoughts? I mean, I've followed you guys for about 5 years now. I've watched you mature just in that time. Mm-hmm. What has 30 years been like?
It's been quite a journey, an interesting journey, particularly navigating the technological trends.
Yeah.
You can't believe that the products we created 30 years back, we were used to ship in a 3.5-inch floppy drive.
Imagine, right?
And then it was a big moment to transition to a downloadable software in something called the internet.
Oh my goodness.
Having seen that, all the way navigating to offering smartphone software, to SaaS software, to now, agents. It's been quite a journey.
Yeah.
And then I realized that it is the companies that transition frequently and keep themselves ready to transition during these technological changes, and survival becoming the core advantage is the key. Yeah. It's good to see that a lot of things changed, but a lot of things didn't change too. I think that is the fascinating part about the journey.
Yeah. No, I love that. I think there is an agility to being a service, a technology provider, but also just, in the same way we tell people to learn and unlearn and relearn in their careers, I think companies have to do the same, right?
Totally.
Stay agile, stay moving. But, one of the things, I posted this yesterday on LinkedIn. I think one of the things that people don't know about Zoho is, and I cover the HR tech world, so I'm very into people, Zoho payroll. But you guys have, I believe, a very differentiated culture. Mm-hmm. How do you feel like that comes through in the way you run the business and the way that you produce products?
Every company is different, and they define culture in each way. You have to ask the fundamental question: what is culture?
Yeah,
culture to a company is what character is to an individual, and our character is defined by the values we believe in. Mm-hmm. Let's say if you believe in a value that says, hey, respect elders, we do respect elders.
Right.
Similarly, company has a similar value system. There are a few things that we believe in, and those set of beliefs come together to form the culture of a company. And over a period of time, we have had a lot of ideas that turn into convictions that kind of evolved into the value system of the company.
Right.
That made us who we are. The first thing, for example, is people first. End of the day, it's humans and value people. And
nothing gets done without people.
Exactly, right? Yeah. And then I believe that people are multi-talented. And that means let not titles restrict what somebody does.
Right.
In a lot of cases, too much emphasis is given to a title, but that title often restricts it. Give them the freedom. Respect people, give them the freedom, let them execute. If somebody is willing to take the responsibility, let them, give them the responsibility, and failure is okay. If you set that as a core thing, people will do experiments and all of that. And once you start doing those experiments, then you'll notice that you're given the freedom to the people doing experiments, and then the innovation will come bottom up.
Yes.
It doesn't have to be top down.
Yep. So it's organic at that point.
It's organic at that point. And that is the approach we have taken. And there are several other aspects that represent the values we believe in. And the people who are aligned with those values are the ones that are continuing in this journey. The majority of my colleagues that have been with the company are almost 3 decades now.
Yeah. Wow.
And that is part of the journey, because there is an alignment with the value system that defined the culture. And when there is that alignment, then keep going.
Yeah.
It feels like an extended family. It's a cliche, but in this case, as a private company, we can really value these values that you cannot say that as a public company because there is an external pressure.
Right. Yeah. Do you find that your culture helps you attract customers with like-minded sort of attitudes towards
To some extent,
their people?
People, our customers buy because of our products, not because of the culture.
Right.
That is how it should be.
Yeah, but I think it comes through. I think your culture comes through in your tech. I really do.
And sometimes we make a deliberate effort out there.
Yeah.
Let's take a very simple example. Let's take this artwork.
Yeah.
Right.
You guys do this in-house, by the way.
We do this in-house.
I don't know if people know that, but you guys have some amazing artists. Every year it's an amazing.
Because when you transition to digital, you notice that art, music, all of these is going obsolete, or it's not given as enough importance. How do you bring some of these artists into this modern age? So we bring them, we hire artists from various sectors, bring them in, and then how do we merge technology with art?
Mm-hmm.
And how do we bring in photography into the technology? How do we bring in musicians into the technology? Because a lot of people don't know that we do a lot of TV ads, but most of the background music is also done in-house.
I think I remember one year at Zoho Day, you had some employees playing music we had like an outdoor reception or something, and you had employees actually playing the music.
Totally.
That was fascinating.
Because again, as I said,
I thought it was a hired band. They're like, no, those are all employees. They were singing and dancing.
People are multi-talented.
Yeah.
So give them the freedom to explore and give them, say, hey, if you ask them, if you want to perform for a particular music video or some ad, why not do it?
Yeah, I love
that. So it's kind of mixing the two, and we enjoy doing it. And that's why whether it is an art or a music or something else, we try to mix some of
art
these.
And science. A little bit art and science.
Yeah, totally.
I love it. So I want to come back. Your title, Chief Evangelist. Mm-hmm. What's a day in the life of a Chief Evangelist, and what gets you excited now when you're out there working with your customers?
Well, I won't put too much emphasis on the title. Yeah. It's a title. I don't let the title restrict what I do.
Yes.
End of the day, my responsibility is to bridge the gap between technology and the customer needs. Mm-hmm. And customers can be anywhere, and they have a problem. Can a technology solve the problem? Connect the two and connect those dots between technology and their challenges they face, and help solve the problem. And of course, get the word out about Zoho. Zoho is not very, very well known. And, I often say it's the best kept secret in the software world.
I would agree. You guys are a bit of a quiet disruptor, not just differentiator. Do you see yourself as a disruptor?
We do.
Yeah.
You're
very humble disruptors.
In other words, it's like we have a conviction.
Yeah.
We are executing with that conviction. That conviction happens to be, disrupting the market.
Yeah.
I'll put it that way.
I love it. No, that's good. And look, I mean, purposeful or not, I mean, it's happening, right? And I think that's foundational to your people and your culture and the brains and intelligence that you guys have and this creativity that you bring to your software. So I love that. But I want to talk about kind of the elephant in the room when it comes to SaaS, right? Like you've seen the media. Mm-hmm. Everyone's talking about SaaS is dead and AI is going to eat all of the software. AI is software, right? It's going to eat the software. It's going to this, that. But you guys really are looking at it very differently, saying that there's a deeper strategic ROI in platforms that maybe people are missing. Can you talk about that a little bit?
What they really mean is the value and the cost of software comes down.
Yeah.
Is that a bad thing?
I don't think so.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nobody is complaining that their food is getting cheap.
Right. Yeah. Right.
So in other words, when technology is commoditized, that's a good thing. Meaning everyone has access to technology.
Right.
And that's a good thing. What happens to the vendors, how they navigate is a different thing. Vendors will figure it out. Creative vendors will figure out creative things.
Yeah.
Best things in life are free. And if technology is free, that's a good thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's how we are looking at it. And we'll figure out what to do. And there are million problems to solve in this world.
Yeah.
So we are not too worried about it.
Yeah.
But in general, this is a good trend that when there are a lot of when there are a lot of applications, the cost of application comes down. That also means a lot of people will start using the technology. That technology diffusion happens, which also means everybody benefits from technology. That means everyone's productivity goes down. When everyone's productivity goes down, and the economy in general and personal lives of these individuals will go up, and then things will figure out itself. So not too worried about it.
Yeah. Well, what are your thoughts on the the fact that, we've seen this sort of swing of where, it was like we were all in one, and then we went back to sort of the trend of like, well, best of breed integrated. And then now we're kind of going back to all in one again, the all in one platform. And I think that that's probably largely driven by, data, right? Data and the ability to actually do anything with AI reasonably without that. But what are your thoughts on that? Like that trend of sort of now we're coming back to the all in one again.
The pendulum keeps swinging.
Which bodes very well for Zoho's approach, right?
The pendulum keeps swinging. It's like in fashion where one trend, comes in and then goes back. And
we're humans, right? That's what we do.
Exactly.
We go off to the next thing,
Exactly. And the same thing is, we have seen the IBM mainframes, and then we went to the personal computers, and now we have seen the SaaS, and then we're going back to the more powerful client-side devices like smartphones. It's the standard nature. With AI, it changes things partly because it enables intelligence. Mm-hmm. What is intelligence? In a lot of cases, intelligence is about connecting the dots.
Right.
So when the dots are connected, you can generate insights out of it. If they are not connected, it's just piece of data. How does that data translate into knowledge, that translate into intelligence? They have to be connected.
Right. Yeah.
That's why the base layer of that has to be connected data, which, becomes the business intelligence, mm-hmm. and that becomes the AI layer, and insights can be generated from that. So that's why the underpinning platform and the data has to be connected. You generate insights.
Yeah.
So it's that technology is requirement that it is connected.
Right. Yeah. I mean, are you kind of saying that the new ROI in SaaS is not about productivity, but more about intelligence?
It's more about intelligence, and it's about making people productive yet again.
Yeah. Amplifying them.
Amplifying it. I think instead of end of the day, you ask the fundamental question, what is the tool? Mm-hmm. Tool is there to help us productive.
Right.
Meaning, if something takes us 10 hours to do, if you are able to do it in 1 hour, that's progress. That's what software is.
Yeah,
right?
You can do something else.
Now, if you say you don't even have to put 1 hour, somebody else will take care of it. And that somebody else is called the AI or an AI agent. Now you get to free up your time to do more useful things with other humans. Instead of you spending your time with technology and tools, you're spending more valuable time with your family, with your colleagues, with others to do other human things.
Right, exactly.
And I see it as a positive trend.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I mean, I love the empowerment of like, we're as humans, there's so many things we want to do and we'd like to do or we should do, but then we get sort of distracted from the things that we have to do. And a lot of the have to do is a pain in most companies.
Yeah.
And we're dealing with many, many pieces of software, and we're dealing with many, many requirements and demands, and it's changing all the time. And I think if we can enable people to be smarter about their work and more focused on their time, the outcomes is the art and science.
Totally. The outcomes is the key. See, what will it automate is the first thing.
Yeah.
It's the 3 Ds, the drudgery, the dangerous, the dirty.
Right.
Those are the ones that will be automated, and we'll be glad that the technology will take care of it so that we can spend human time with more useful things.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, when you look at, I read a lot of these, these studies, and you listen to people that matches, right? We saw the one, I think, from MIT that 95% of AI programs aren't getting, or businesses aren't getting ROI. Well, a lot of that is because there's just this granular sort of ad hoc doing of AI, I'll say air quotes, but not as much enterprise-wide sort of governance and downward. Why is that? Is it just because people are rushing off and not kind of ready? I call it ready, fire, aim, and not ready, aim, fire. Is that what's happening?
Yeah, this is what happens when the hype gets ahead of reality.
Yeah.
See, we are still at the protocol level, meaning we had to have, like if you go back to the internet, we had to have the HTTP layer and the FTP layer in place before the browser would come across, and then everyone would browse it, right?
Yeah.
So similarly, if you look at an operating system, we had to have the DOS, we had to have the CLI in place before we had the graphical user interface.
Mm-hmm. Right.
We are now doing the same plumbing here. We have to have the MCP in place. We have to have the A2A in place and all of that before we get to the user experience and all of that. We are trying to, leapfrog that.
Yeah.
And so that's where we are hyping it up way ahead of reality. Partly it is a byproduct of, a lot of money flowing into the system, and they are in the business of hyping it up because they have to hype it up to raise the next round, and it is that financial cycle at play. But this is a critical technology. It'll take a few years, in some cases, maybe a little more than a decade for it to play out. But it will have an impact, but not immediately.
Right.
This happens with every tech cycle. Just like the .com, everything was hyped up. But everything that was said back then came out to be true.
Right.
Just that it took a decade or two. The same thing will happen with AI. The diffusion will happen. It will take several years to happen. In some cases, maybe even a decade or longer.
Yeah. Well, what do you think happens with, one of the questions I get a lot of is just the pricing question. What's going to happen to pricing if per seats go down? What will AI do to that? And what will be the, to your point, right? Software is getting cheaper. What happens to sort of SaaS licenses at this point? How do we pay for technology in the future? Is it going to be based on outcomes, transactions, volumes of things we do? Or
we'll have to figure it out.
Yeah.
We don't know what that is. And then the number of people who will be working in SaaS could come down as a SaaS software. And we have seen that in the farming industry.
Yeah.
It used to be 40% of the workforce used to be in farming here 100 years ago. Now it's about 1.6% in the country. Right? But what happened to the other, 38%, right?
Right.
Well, they figured it out, entered manufacturing and all of that. Those are newer industries that were formed after farming. And there will be newer industries that will come after this SaaS.
Exactly,
and then there will be a next evolution. That is the beauty of the human ingenuity. We just have to keep evolving. Yep. So that also means tools get cheaper. Just like food got efficient, food got cheaper as farmers got more efficient. And that means technology is available to everyone. Now, the people that may not like it is the investors and all of that. But that's a small subset.
Right.
But they are looking at it from a financial lens because it's of the financialization. But if you look at the human productivity, when the prices go down, a common man benefits, and that's a win as a society.
A win for everybody. Everybody can get attached to that modern technology.
Totally.
So what you guys talked the other day about, I thought it was a great presentation on day one about how SaaS transferred cloud, right? Transferred a lot of the risk back to the vendor versus on-prem. Now we're going back the other way where we're almost saying, well, because you've got some companies that think they can go off and build their own enterprise applications, which is crazy. But now they're kind of taking that risk back on with AI. Just talk about that a little bit, because I think that's an interesting thing that I don't know if everybody thinks about.
Yeah. I mean, that's I don't think companies are fully thinking through. And in some cases, there is relevancy there for sovereignty reasons and various other reasons, because intelligence is not like any other technology. Intelligence is a completely different league out there.
Right.
Are you willing to give up your intellectual property to someone else? And companies may not be willing to. And to keep that intellectual property, they may be willing to take that responsibility themselves. And they may be making that conscious decision. And it's important that they make the conscious decision of that. Small businesses may not have the bandwidth to do it, but as the businesses get larger, they will have the bandwidth and they'll make a conscious decision. Where we were talking about the pendulum, it is possible that the pendulum might swing back to on-premise because of the requirement that intelligence cannot leave the business and it has to be on-premise. It is very much possible. And that is the discovery phase. Nobody knows the answer here.
Right.
We are trying to figure out how that evolves.
Yeah.
But currently, some of the countries do not want to leave the intelligence beyond. They want to keep the sovereignty of the country because they protect their physical borders. Now, with the digital borders, if the intelligence leaves the country, what does it mean?
Yeah.
So countries are saying, okay, we need an on-premise systems. So that is at the country level. The same thing applies at the company level, particularly large companies who have the bandwidth. But those discussions are happening as we speak.
Yeah, yeah. Well, when you look at you guys have so many customers of different types and sectors. What are some of the characteristics of companies that are doing really well with AI and getting ahead of their peers? Like, what are they doing? What are some of the things they're doing right?
The ones that are threatened are the ones that are on the fence and trying to
the reactive.
Trying to be in some cases be proactive, but in some cases they are reactive and they are trying to figure it out. Yeah. The ones that tend to do well are the ones that are proactive and figuring out new model. The question they are asking is AI a threat? How do I convert that from threat to an opportunity? Because some of these are going to be double-edged swords.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes, it is a threat, but that also can provide an opportunity depending on the context. And some of our customers are exploring both sides.
Yeah.
And it obviously, varies by industry. We have about 1 million customers now, and their usage varies by industry, by country, by segment and all.
Right. Yeah, I think that maturity is interesting. And I think that companies that are leaning in and trying to do, and again, doing things at the enterprise level tend to be performing much better. But I think some of it is, and I think it came up in the room just now in this Q&A about I think the topic of AI literacy, right? Getting people just skilled at a baseline level to be able to begin thinking right about AI and executing. And that's something I think that you guys have done really well. Back to your culture, you guys have curated your own talent. You didn't wait to go and find talent. You created it.
Yeah.
Do you think companies are going to have to do that, create their own AI talent around their own solutions and products and goals? Or do you think it's a matter of the old way of just sourcing and finding people?
We are in seeding business, not harvesting business.
Yeah.
So we create our talent, but each company is different. In a lot of cases, it's never a technology issue. Mm-hmm. It's almost people issue.
Culture issue.
Culture issue.
Yeah.
Culture issue.
Yeah.
Some companies have a culture where they quickly adopt newer technologies and and keep moving. Mm-hmm. Some companies are very averse to change, and that could cause challenges in fast-moving industries and technologies like AI. And the ones that move tend to survive.
Right?
The survival of the fittest again.
Yeah.
And it comes, and that is going to be playing here.
Yeah.
Like we have seen that in the technology industry. What happened to, say, Nokia and BlackBerry versus, say, the iPhone and the Android world.
Yeah.
The ones
Blockbuster.
that are exactly the ones that are nimble enough to change. Will you get something like a Netflix? Netflix was shipping CDs. Now nobody remember. Most people don't even remember that they used to ship DVDs.
Yes, yeah.
They have shifted as the market changed.
Right.
But how many companies will shift? And for the companies that shift, the opportunity is going to be massive. But that shift is consistent.
Yeah.
In some of these cases, if you miss one of these shifts, that could have a ripple effect. If you're, for example, Sony, you'll be beating yourself for not continuing your Walkman success into an iPod equivalent. Because by missing the iPod, I would argue that they missed the iPhone. As a byproduct, they missed the App Store and the Apple Pay, all of that, right?
Yeah.
So missing one of these segments will have repercussions. So we are seeing that in the automotive industry as an example.
Yeah.
Well, not every company successfully transitioned into EVs. By missing the EV transition, they may be missing the autonomous transportation. By missing that, they may be missing maybe the, I would say, equivalent of Uber or a cybercab approach or robotaxi approach of it, which could be a service on all of these. So missing some of these transitions could get expensive. That's where the ones that are on their toes, transitioning well, are the ones that tend to do well, particularly in a fast-moving technology like age like we see today.
Yeah, I think you're talking about org agility, basically.
Yeah.
The ability to take data, pair it with other data, see around the next corner, and make those little nudges and pivots.
Totally.
It's survival. It's a survival skill now that I think you have to have as a business. But so look, I want to kind of maybe get some of your advice. Like, what would you say to a company who is maybe a little bit paralyzed or has stalled or isn't where they think they need to be? Because look, it's early. It's so early with AI, but then again, it's actually getting really late because it's moving so incredibly fast. What's your advice for folks out there that are kind of maybe leaders that might be a little paralyzed?
One, it's never late.
Yeah.
The fact that it is moving so fast, I think it's an advantage.
Yep.
Meaning, if the ground underneath is shifting, can you build a house? You really can't. So because it is shifting so fast, the ones that have already done haven't established a base yet, and because they themselves might be changing because the ground underneath is changing. Things will settle down a little bit. This is the explosion of innovation phase of tech, and there is going to be a consolidation phase very soon. This happens. I call it the heartbeat cycle of tech.
Yeah.
And we are in that explosion of innovation stage. But once you understand and you have a conviction and you build a house, once things settle down and keep at it, there is an opportunity.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah, and I think sometimes it takes, someone in your industry or in your competitive purview or your view to say, oh, they're moving, right? We can see it and feel it now in our sales or whatever. And then that unfortunately, wakes people up and they start to then, oh no, we have to do it too, and start to react. So I'd love to see more proactive and less reactive because we have a lot of companies, as you know, that have not moved off of on-prem and they're still, so how do they make the leap, right? How do they go from nothing to completely today?
Sometimes that offers an advantage. I see that in developing countries. Now, I come from India.
Yeah.
India has been very, very late at adopting telephones.
Oh, interesting.
But
as a
country, as a country, there's probably 10 million telephone connections or something.
Interesting.
Like that.
Yeah.
But they completely ditched that. Something called mobile came in. Now India has about 1 billion phones.
Yeah.
So the mobile became what used to be a technology back in the day, that became a baggage, and they kind of leapfrogged into the next generation technology.
Right.
The same thing. India did not have the same amount of banking system as US did.
Right. Yeah.
But when they transitioned, they directly leapfrogged to the next generation banking system, and that is significantly futuristic.
Yeah.
So sometimes that can be an advantage if you change your mindset and choose to leapfrog and look ahead, and that could pose as an advantage.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, look, I've got a lot of optimism for AI. I love technology. I feel like, again, it's a real blessing to humanity, right? We think about like things like, just the ability to do real-time payments now, which is something I know you guys have added to your solution. The real-time payments, right? And just access to money has been equalized for people, I think. And liquidity is now something small businesses don't necessarily have to fret over it with the new ways. But what do you think that's going to do for businesses, right? Being able to kind of give them these paths to start seeing new ways of competing and new ways of doing things a little different. Do you think that's the case with all of this stuff coming in, that there's going to be options for people to say, hey, there's a better way to do this than the rest of our industry is doing it?
There is never better time to start a company.
Yeah.
Because imagine starting a company before the internet.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Who would know? Who would even know?
Exactly. The distribution of that. We remember that. Where to set up an office, it's a pain. And to get distribution in that country is a pain.
Yeah.
Now imagine that before the smartphone and before and after the App Store. Once you're in the App Store, you can now start distributing your digital product in 100 plus countries.
Yeah.
Accept payments and all of that right away. Now look at the distribution you get with any marketing and whatnot with all the platforms available.
Yeah.
It's never better time.
You're right.
So it is opportunity. You just have to leverage all the tools well.
Yeah, agreed.
And get it out there.
Yeah, I love that. Any advice to young folks coming in? I have some 20-somethings in my house, and I see a lot of folks, a lot of young people really trying to figure out their path now, because it is a very disruptive market. There's a lot of opportunity, but there's a lot of fear. What would you say to a young person who is entering, say, the workforce, or maybe entering college? Like, what would you have them? What would you tell them to focus on? AI, data? What would you?
It's not about what specifically you're learning.
Yeah.
I would recommend learn the habit of learning. Things change fast, but if you enjoy learning, that is going to be the biggest asset. I graduated with a computer science degree, and after I graduated, I learned something called the internet.
Yeah.
And whatever I learned pretty much became useless. Right? Yeah. But the habit of learning is more important than what exactly are you learning.
Agreed.
So if you get into that habit of keeping yourself updated and then keep learning, that is going to be a massive asset.
Yeah.
So one thing I learned is whatever you learn is not going to go waste, irrespective of which industry you learn. Things will come back. As Steve Jobs put it, you can only connect the dots looking back.
Yes.
So it's not about what you learn, but
what you learn next.
What you learn next. Keep learning. Yeah.
Yeah. I love that. So look, I want to round this out with maybe a prognostication, a little look forward. Zoho Day 2030. What do you think we're talking about when we're talking trends and opportunities and challenges in the market?
Hopefully, we'll be helping more customers with their business so that they continue to succeed. I think 30 years in, we are now serving about a million customers. Hopefully, we get to the next million by then, and broader. More importantly, we want to help those businesses grow. you see more businesses growing,
Yeah.
I would call it a success.
I love it. I love it. Where can folks get in touch with you? How would you like folks to reach out if they have a question or just want to connect with you?
Yeah, I mean, the only social media I'm on is in Twitter, on X. Raju V is my handle. But yeah, I'm on email as well.
Awesome.
So, yeah, I'm on Zoho. Yeah.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Raju. This is great, man. And congratulations on all you guys have done. And and thanks for having us. Thanks for being on HR and Payroll 2.0.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir.